reunions.
Well, that was the first one we had,
This one's the second
and
one.
this one is the
2
second one.
weeks. You're having it like every year? Is it an annual thing or?
That's what they're trying
They
to
were
do,
talking
yeah.
about it, but I don't know if it'll be every year or not.
It was actually really fun. So, try it again this year. See people you see hardly ever.
Did you have people coming from all different, like from different states and everything?
No, they were all
Well,
mostly.
yeah, some. I mean, Dennis and those
Grab
guys
the
were
other-
there.
Yeah,
Grab the
There's
camera
some
bag.
people from out of state, but
So you can,
mostly, actually, a lot of people still live around that area.
Yeah,
a lot of them live in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Well, most of them live in Green Bay. I'm really the only one that,
Yeah.
and my son, of course, because this is where he grew up. And my daughter lives in Green Bay now too.
There
But
is.
she used to
We're
live here.
more
in
over
town.
here though. I think we're, yeah, we might have turned or something.
And then there too are my 2 great-grandchildren. And there's another one up there, I got 3 great-grandchildren.
That's,
And you're gonna start scanning pictures, I bet.
Huh?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we just asked. So you need a plug, eh? Everything. You need a plug to plug that in. You're gonna need a
Actually, I only got one.
3-prongers.
still like that picture.
Which one?
The back of everybody.
I sold the
yeah.
house
You wanna,
after.
You were taking a family reunion photo. Sound like you
I remember getting a paper in the mail, but I don't remember anything else after that. No,
Can I get you guys anything?
Well,
to
you got
drink?
money, didn't you?
not that I'm aware of.
Wine?
You got the same as,
I don't think I ever kept. If I got it, I never saw
Ben
it.
got
I
it?
don't remember.
Ben got it and Randy got it too, I think.
James got it. I don't remember getting it.
Well, I'm sure that you all got it
What?
when Elvin died.
Oh, yeah.
you got any of those converters?
I don't remember ever getting it.
Do you have any cheater plugs?
I remember the.
You probably got it and spent it right away and forgot all about it.
You got any of those cheater plugs so you can plug a 3-pronger into a 2
I
thing?
don't know.
Well, where would I look?
I don't know, down the basement maybe?
Why don't you tell about Mary Lou, when she came here to live and how she would always follow Jerry?
Yeah, I did tell him
Yeah, she
that
was
she
quite a
went,
kid.
wherever he went, she went. He went to do anything outside, she was right after him.
And then she jumped off the pier to swim and she couldn't swim and almost drowned. At a party, right?
Well, she was invited to a birthday party, and she went to swim, but she jumped off at a pier, but they rescued her.
You guys don't remember Carol, huh?
I never knew.
He never even knew Mary. So I mean, he was 3 months.
And you don't know anything about the family at all. That's really a shame.
And then every time we would go to Hazel, she's like, I guess the only family she talked about was the Malowiski family or something, because anytime we try asking about the Rasmussen, it's like.
Do you remember going to the farm at all?
Yes,
Yeah,
You can remember the
I
farm in
remember
Denmark?
I remember the farm in Denmark.
I forgot
Vaguely.
which party it was, but, well, we had gone there twice. Once was for, a party, someone's birthday party, and I forgot who it was.
Yeah, I was thinking that
It was like around this time, or around this time of the year that the party was.
I wonder what that could have been. Maybe it was Grandma's party.
Where, at the farm?
Then
Yeah,
this
Friday
was,
year.
of course, this was before our mom died.
Yeah, how old would you have been, do you think?
Probably 6, you would have been either 4 or 5.
And what year would that have been?
That would have been 71, roughly.
71, 72, yeah.
I would probably say around 71, 70, 71.
71.
Well, it could have been July. Herbert had a birthday on the 4th of July. If there was a party, they might have been there for 4th of July or something.
Yeah, Grandma died what year?
1964,
before we even,
and my dad died in 1960.
Right, so it would have been at the farm then, if Grandma was gone.
Elvin,
Alvin and Norman?
Elvin and Norman, right.
Well, that's, I wonder who could have had their party then.
Well, Marie and Della and Hannah always came from
Well,
Della.
maybe that's what it was.
You know,
Um,
they came out there every week and helped them clean and stuff.
yeah, with the Hazel, Edna has stories to tell you about that. When the kids were living here,
No, I don't
They
wanna
would-
talk about it.
they would be sitting on, I mean, she's just a loving person, like you can see she is. And they'd sit on her lap and, you know, she'd play games with them and everything. When they went up to Hazel's and George's, they couldn't even sit on her lap or do anything without them sending them to the bedroom. Hazel sending the girls to the bedroom because they didn't wanna have any contact at all with us or with Edna. And Edna's.
See, my grandfather was the same type of way.
Was he?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they wouldn't let me have any contact with him.
yeah.
That's really,
That's really sad.
yeah, and Hazel
Because
ran
you
the
need
show
to know.
basically, especially after George died, she really did, control the whole family. So I can see why you would have not had, much contact with us. And we thought, you know, maybe you guys just didn't wanna contact us, you
No,
know?
It wasn't
We
that
wanted to
at
know as
all.
much as we could.
Yeah, we didn't wanna rock the boat any more than we already had with Hazel, so.
Well, who was
Like,
Hazel?
I found out a lot. after I
Hazel
turned
died about
18.
6 years ago?
Hazel
Hazel
was married
died-
to George.
My real dad, he couldn't really tell me
That
much
was her
about you
second
guys.
husband, and after, they left
My
here,
real dad.
they went, cause George and
But this
Hazel got
sounds weird.
married. George was their dad. Their real mother had died, and they had been, given an opportunity to live with two other aunts and uncles. One was in Deep Pier and then Edna and Jerry. And after they left here then, they got in to have to live with Hazel and George. And Hazel was very,
Anti-family?
well, very hard to deal with. Even when George was dying, she didn't wanna let Edna go and see George die. I mean, when he was dying, she didn't wanna have any family there. So that's the kind of person that Hazel was. So Hazel was in charge of basically the whole situation with Carol, Mary Lou, and George. And when she was in charge, then we didn't wanna, you know, cross over the line, although Edna did go in and see George anyway, even though she said she couldn't. She went in and saw her brother before he died. George was their
What
grandfather.
was it he died of?
He was a steam fitter and he worked with lead,
Asbestos and lead.
and he died of lead poisoning.
Wow.
So that's the problem with.
Did he
how we
find one for you?
didn't get
I'm
connected.
not sure. Oh, no, I mean, I'm waiting. Yeah, I'm waiting.
For Bruce?
Yeah.
Now, if Hazel could put to anybody, she, of the family, would have been to your mom. She was a little bit better to your mom than to any of us.
Yeah, 'cause I remember going, when we lived in Green Bay, I remember going to visit Hazel with my mom a few times. Before she got married to Tom, the guy that she got married to afterwards.
That's the only one that she had really left.
How'd you get in the
So
photo?
that's why she went there, I think.
What?
She grew, I think
What do
she
you
grew
mean?
with Hazel and George until, how old were they when they left here at?
Do you think that looks like me?
I don't know.
What's in the deck?
Carol graduated.
Carol had
from eighth grade.
graduated from 8th grade.
So Mary Lou was
That
about
was
12,
eighth grade
maybe.
graduation.
I think Mary Lou was going into 7th grade.
She lived with Hazel and George until she was about 20 maybe, or 21. Did she,
Yeah.
did you ever know she joined the circus?
1922.
Your mom joined the circus.
Really?
She was a good, really good person, and a lot of fun, and a character. And I think she was.
I wish I would've got to know her a lot better than I did.
She joined the circus for like only maybe, 2 or 3 months maybe, was that it, Edna?
What do you want? We got,
What did she
I don't know
do?
what we got.
I don't know, I can't remember.
I'm not really sure. But I know she really got it for that. I mean, it really came down her heart for doing that. It came down hard on her.
Well, I don't know if that was such a good thing to do, but I guess it didn't hurt her any.
Will we join the circus?
Yeah.
Really.
Huh?
Okay. I missed the
I was
beginning of
in the
that.
circus, how about that?
I mean, you hear people say that, you know, I'm gonna run away and join the circus, but I never knew of anybody that actually did, yeah.
Wow.
Well, they were both good kids.
They really were,
Yeah, really. But they had a hard life.
really hard,
And they were
really hard.
really good kids.
But the last time they had was when they were living here, so they had at least 2.5 years of good life, and I think before their mom and dad divorced, they had some good life too, you know, before they had a problem. But they were little when that happened, I think they were maybe 4 or 5 years old when they got a divorce. You know?
And then they lived with their mom for a while.
Yeah,
And then
before
she
she
died.
died.
Yeah, cuidado con eso.
Oh, yeah, they lived with their mother all the time until she died.
And her name was Wilkette, right?
Look at,
Yeah.
diet?
Lucille Wilkette. So you
That'll
probably
work.
she had a brother,
that
I
out.
think that's all she had was one.
Anybody else want some?
You have another one of that? My wife would like one.
Diet?
That was your grandma's maiden name, Wilkette?
got? We got at least one.
Was, I thought it was, no, I never got, what her maiden name was.
Wilkette. I think it's W-I-L-Q.
Got one more quote, so you guys have to fight over that one. I think there's a fair amount of diet.
Thank you so much.
Wow, cool.
All I know
You need
is,
some beer?
Lucille Londo.
There's beer if you want beer.
Lucille
Or if you want a
Londo.
glass of wine, you can have a glass of
I
wine.
don't think so. Was it Londo, Lucille Londo?
What?
Was her last name Londo? I don't think it was it? Or
That's
was
what I thought it was. I
Or
thought
maybe it
one of
was. Maybe Wilkette was, Whose voice? Whose voice? Rita. It
Maybe
could
it was
be.
Londo, I don't know.
It could have been, now that you think about it. How did you spell that?
L-U-N-D-O.
Yeah.
Is it D-E-A-U? Cause she was French.
It could have been, and
She
I
was
don't know,
a, she
all
was
I
a
know
pretty
is
good
he
dancer
spelled
too,
the
your mother
Londo and-
was.
Really?
Oh,
Albert,
yeah.
Albert Londo.
She liked
and
to
his
dance, she
father
loved to
was
dance. Well, my brother did too, he liked to
Albert
dance.
Londo was her father.
So,
Albert Joseph Londo.
Yeah, Mark must have
Where do you
missed
get
out
one
on that,
from?
Jane.
and they all had the L-N-D-O, right?
Yeah.
What did you say?
That's the way
I said
it's
Mark must have
Where you
missed out on
Yeah,
that,
that's
Jane.
the
Oh,
that's what I was,
dancing.
oh,
the information I found.
Your
'cause I think-
grandmother could dance.
really?
Oh, could she dance?
Yeah?
Beautiful dance.
So she's saying that you missed out on that.
Yeah.
You didn't take that trait.
Yeah, I must have skipped his generation.
And she liked to dance.
Let's skip this one too, so.
Yes, you
We'll
did.
be on.
How about you, Ben? You dance?
You know,
Yeah,
Jane's a good dancer
Dance
too.
pretty good.
James. James.
I was praying.
If I
for
say
you
so
as
myself.
Specifically for the last.
What kind of
5 or 6
dancing do you
months,
like to
lo
do?
and behold,
He doesn't. Not at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
He goes around in a circle.
No?
But, I had my dad,
I like to
find
dance.
out where,
You like that?
George
Well, it's
was
good
buried.
exercise.
Yeah.
and from when when I found out where George was
That's all the
buried,
time, it's
I
that
didn't
place where
know-
you go dance.
I was always trying
And
to
they
look,
closed it down
because
since
when
Yeah,
I was
we haven't
done it in a
looking
long
for
time.
George, I couldn't find
spur of the
him.
moment type deal like last time.
And,
Dance a little bit.
I looked at, I knew Charles. Charles was George's father, and I was looking on the internet, or I was looking up on Ancestral.com for Charles, and it gave me a list of names, but I wasn't sure about the names because I always thought that it was either Alvin or Carl that actually Carl had passed away. I always thought it was Carl that passed away that we got our inheritance check, our
It
inheritance.
was the other way around.
And it was the other way around. I'm like looking for, okay, and I'm trying to ask me, when was it? Can you recall when it was about that you went and saw
I couldn't tell you, not,
yeah, but I mean, I
Still
kept
can't
trying to ask
tell
that. When
that's
when
all
my
they
dad
were
told me
16 to
where
17.
where George was buried, I asked my dad, or when my dad told me where George was buried, I called Nicolay Memorial Gardens, because that's where he's buried, and I asked if they could search for George Rasmussen. They did. They gave me the information, and then I contacted Dale, and he went on to the obituary. Or I asked if he could look up the obituary for George, and that's where I got all the names. All the names that corresponded to what I sort of had in for Charles. And then I went down the list, and of course on his obituary it didn't have like Edna Rasmussen. It had Edna McBee or Dorothy Dressort and Starry. And I went, but I put him in the right. I put him to the right people, and so I typed in the husband's name and or the husband's name and then Rasmussen card and when I got down to Gerald McBee, Edna and it said Rasmussen, Levine Rasmussen. And it said Economwalk. So I called information Economwalk, and I asked for Edna McBee, and then they gave me because I said it, but then they gave me to a regular operator, and they gave me Edna's phone number. And I called Edna, and I said, is this Edna McBee, formerly Edna Rasmussen? Yes. This is James Kramer, George's grandson. Or I said, was your brother George? Yes. This is George's grandson, James. Oh, how do you do? We've been wanting to.
You really remind me a lot of Mary Lou. When you're talking and the way you look, George and Mary Lou were so close together and looks and everything. Don't you think so?
I have no idea. I was pretty young.
Well, anyway.
Yeah, and then of course, Edna mentioned Ben. How's the little one doing? The 3-month-old. Oh, he's living in New Holston. His name's Ben, and he's doing good. But let me get home, or wait till I get home so I can sit down and talk to you. Can I call you in about an hour? Yes. So, and how's everybody? Yes, yeah, New Holstein, okay. And so I called back, and sat down, called back, and we talked for about an hour and 47 minutes.
Yeah. You know, I got pictures
Well, because they were down in Bill.
all those people you were talking about.
yeah.
I've got pictures of those people that you're talking about, so you.
Yeah, and so and that's how I because I got it, for information.
So how long have you been working on this then? Just
I started basically around March 13th or March of last year.
oh, okay.
Is
So
when I
I've
started.
been working on it a whole lot longer though.
oh, okay.
Yeah. But I got more information.
Yeah.
And I started praying for you about, for your mom and Carol, about, I'd say 5 or 6 months ago. And that's about the time you called for Edna. She said, I got a call from Mary Lou's son. I said, you didn't. Yes! Good! What's going on? And she said, well, he asked a lot of questions. I said, well, when he comes, we have to ask him a lot of questions about what life has been like and what you've been doing and
Yeah.
everything like that. To get to know you a little bit
That's a long story.
better.
It's a weird story.
Yeah.
I mean, for all of us, you know, I mean.
Well, that's
I'll have
weird that
totally
you guys-
different ones too. That's the.
Nah.
Well, yeah, I mean, well,
I mean, it's
He,
long
he
distance,
got, yeah, it's long, because I live in California and he lives in Holstein, but
I live
his
in
routes,
Jersey, so
his
Yeah.
routes,
How come you went to New Jersey?
I've lived all over the country actually.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. Just sort of
Then you
ended
remember,
up
huh?
moving to go live with my wife.
This is good, Katie.
I wasn't his wife.
She wasn't my wife when I first
I
moved
lived in Wisconsin, and then I moved to, California.
How long were you in
County.
Wisconsin?
Since 1984.
You lived
Okay.
here till 1984.
1984, the Marine Corps took me to California.
And what about you, how long
You
did you
never
live
left
here?
San Diego.
Since '84 I haven't been
Basically,
here.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
I went in the
nice.
army
Oh, you were
Fort
in the
Knox.
army?
Oh,
and then I was in Kentucky for 5 years. Then I moved to Louisiana for a month. And then I moved to live with him for a little while and then married my first wife. We moved to Vegas. She didn't like the heat, she left. And we ended up getting divorced and I moved to California, or to Jersey from Vegas.
Well, the divorce didn't happen until
Well.
Do you like New Jersey?
It's a lot like, it's the closest you're gonna get without being in Wisconsin.
So where are you in New Jersey?
Just out, in Elizabeth, just outside of Newark, New York area.
New York, wow, we were just there last, October. We took a ship.
And you lived in New Holstein all your life, right?
No,
What?
my story. Once upon a time, no. No, I grew up in Eagle River
Yeah.
until I was about 17. Then I moved to Kentucky. I stayed.
Moorhead.
I moved to Moorhead, Kentucky. I lived there for a couple of years. I got into National Guard and moved back to Wisconsin after I got out of my AIT. I got married to my first wife, and actually no, not AIT, basic. When I went back in for my AIT, I got back, she had run off on me. Long story. But I got divorced. Well, actually, that was like 5 years after that. But then I moved back to Kentucky. I lived in Kentucky for about 5 years, just doing odd jobs. I really didn't have anything specific. I was working a lot of restaurant stuff, a lot of cooking positions and stuff. Then my grandpa died. He had moved to Kentucky, so that's why I went back.
Oh,
And when he passed away, my dad came down and wanted me to move back, so I moved back. I actually lived with my dad for a couple of years. I got my CDL and I started driving semi at that point back in '95, and I was just using, that address as a home base because I was pretty much gone, months at a time. That's when I first started out. And from there, I bought a trailer in Kiel. I lived in Kiel for about 7 years. Met her, got married, then we moved to New Holstein, bought a house in New Holstein, and here I am.
and you're still driving a truck though, right?
Yeah, but I own my own truck now.
Oh, you own your own?
I got my own business going.
But you didn't know about your mom until you were like 14 or 15?
13, I want to say, because it was a weird trip. We were going down by my Aunt Carol's, or Aunt Dorothy's, and that's the farm that you guys are at. And she was going to tell me all about everything. And my dad was, you got to bear with me, my grandfather. So my grandfather on the way down was telling me everything. I mean, it was just like, oh, this is this, that, this. And it's like,
What?
yeah, that was exactly it. Oh, you're lying, I mean,
Yeah.
but I didn't know what had actually happened to my mom until much later.
So when did you know that you had two brothers?
I didn't find that out till maybe a year or two after that.
Really? Wow, that's
Well,
In
they
other
never
words, the
told
first
you
time we
that.
saw him
grew up
across the
thinking
field.
that my real dad was my brother, and that's the kind of relationship we had. It was like a brother deal. I mean, and he wasn't allowed to tell me, and he never did. Never could get me alone.
Well,
I
why wouldn't they
mean,
want you to
I was
look at
never with my dad
brothers?
ever alone. It was someone was always either my grandma was there or my grandfather was there.
Yeah, I think they wanted it that way. Because I think they were trying to protect you or something.
Well, why
Well,
are
did
they
you know-
protecting
did
him
you
from
know
his
you had a-
brothers?
But
Yeah.
why in the world would they keep me away from my brothers? Though?
Yeah, really, there's no
Pretty
reason
weird,
for
yeah.
it.
Because
Well,
I didn't
we're,
know nothing about
you
him
know,
until
I know what people say how my mom died. We don't really know the exact story on that.
I mean, I got several different
Well, I
versions.
don't think anybody does,
Yeah.
knows the exact story on it.
I mean,
Why she was shot.
I know my dad was under investigation. That's why everything happened the way it happened.
Right, I think that's why they wanted to protect you some.
Because he was actually accused of murder at one point, and he yanked the state came in and yanked all of us out.
Right, I think that's why they wanted to do that.
At first, I was with Dorothy.
Now Dorothy was your aunt?
Yeah,
I think she's the one that knew your mom quite a bit, and is that the one that
No,
you had just been with her before when you talked to her at the funeral?
I don't know what her name was.
I remember there were a lot of people at the
I
funeral.
can't
That
remember.
that I
their names.
remember.
No, but she
can't
said
remember
that
my
she
own
was
name.
so happy, right? She had said she was happy?
Yeah, she said she was really happy and they had planned Christmas.
She had all of
and
her
everything.
presents and
And
everything
yeah, she'd
wrapped
give
there,
her a
ready to go for
permanent.
Christmas.
So she'd be all, you know, her hair.
Cause
and everything.
she died in December, right?
December.
Yeah, so that would make
11th,
sense that.
Right
she was-
around Christmas time.
Right.
And they had planned, you know, the Christmas and everything, what they were gonna do and everything else. And she was in really good spirits, she said.
I know my dad got a really bad rap out of it, and I don't know if you know, everybody.
Well, nobody knows really what
Yeah,
happened.
it was just too bad.
All I know is what he tells me,
Right.
and
It's too bad, it was really sad.
We were really shocked. And we had been shocked because, you know, we lost that whole family. I mean,
well, yeah, he pretty
We
much did.
lost George,
Really.
we lost Lucille,
Carol
we
and
lost
Mary Lou.
Carol, and then
Lucille.
we lost Mary Lou.
They all died really young,
It was like,
which is
it
really
was
hard,
a terrible
you know,
blow.
to comprehend that
They
they
said
all
that, you know.
Like a whole leg of the
disappear
tree
like
was
that.
gone.
She's gone, yeah.
I did not
And
know
then
what
Hazel
knowing
was
what
in
happened to
charge.
us.
And then we're the only three left of that branch.
Right.
Wow.
But Hazel was the one that was in charge of that whole thing afterwards, so that's why she was pretty adamant about not letting us get to, you know, connect with you guys.
I wish you guys would have.
Well,
Yeah,
they
it's
didn't know,
kinda
they
weird.
didn't know that they, or,
I don't think they could have done much, even if they really
Hazel was
wanted to.
taking control.
Oh, really, yeah.
Yeah.
Just because of the situation I was in, that would have just gave them, you know, I would have blown everything, you know, just opened the book on that, and they weren't gonna let that happen. In fact, my dad had tried to get custody of me and was thrown in jail. He went up to Eagle River because
Why?
this is well, I found this out when I turned 18. You know, I didn't really know anything about this. All I know is
Did you
that
find something for him?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
I'm
good.
working.
He's
Oh,
scanning away.
Excuses.
my dad, like I said, was trying to get custody of me. I didn't find out about it really until I was like 18. And he told me the story. Found out, well, I had found out just prior to that because of the inheritance that I wasn't adopted. I thought I was adopted. Because if I was adopted, then I wouldn't have been able to inherit. So I had to find out, I had to get my birth certificate and all that, and all the guardianship papers to make sure it was the guardianship, not an adoption. And it was just a guardianship, so I was entitled. So that opened up another chapter in my life. I guess it is weird.
Well, you went through a lot then.
It was weird. I mean, I don't like talking about it. tell you
Well,
the
I
truth.
know that,
Yeah,
I
I
know that
suppose,
she
it's
would,
kinda weird.
your mom really wouldn't have wanted that for you.
I don't know, but wherever, for
She had a
whatever
lot of
reason
love
it
in
happened,
her.
you know, and
Right,
I'm just happy we're here together now.
right.
Yeah, that's great.
but, it's,
Yeah, it's nice to
it's
meet all you
awkward,
people.
it's
Like,
really awkward.
No, I can-
I can
know.
imagine, I mean, I don't know how, but I can
and
imagine
you
what
know,
you're
then I
saying,
wonder, well,
I guess.
Well, you got two good brothers here.
I remember seeing you before somewhere though.
because I never
Before
saw
this
it.
weekend,
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I lived down
Could
here,
be.
we lived.
Well, you got-
Well,
got a good
maybe
one
at
here.
the funeral, I
Got a
mean, you
good
probably
one here,
8 years old, 7?
No, he was, yeah, he was 7.
No, I don't look that much different. People, because I mean, I look like a Rasmussen.
You look familiar to me. Maybe I saw your picture on the internet or something.
Could be that too,
On one
or
of,
something.
you know, from the information you got.
Actually, we were thinking about trying to get to you guys last year because of the reunion we were having.
Uh-huh.
And that was the first reunion that we would have had in about maybe 25 years. But nobody knew where you guys were. You know,
Where was your last reunion?
I even called Green Bay Directory to find out if you were in it, and there wasn't anybody there.
No.
And
Oh,
I,
you wouldn't believe the trouble I had trying to get hold of these guys. You know how many Kramers are out?
Just like the Jones,
Out in
they're
California,
expensive.
I mean, I punch up both your names, man, and I couldn't believe the list. I just couldn't believe the list. I'm like, there's over 100 people on this list. You gotta be kidding me. All James Kramer.
I think the
Well, we
last
know
reunion
another
was with my
James Kramer.
grandparents.
Yeah.
Is it near Fresno?
Yeah, it's like 6 miles away from Clintonville.
Does she have a stone?
Yes.
I haven't seen it yet, so, but we're going there tomorrow.
I'm taking them up there tomorrow. That's one thing I didn't know. After that weekend, they took me to the grave. When I found out everything, and it just blew me away. I'm 13 years old and they tell me all this shit. I'm sorry, but that's not right.
Yeah, that's gotta be, wow, quite a shock.
It messed with me pretty hardcore.
Yeah, I
When you're
wish,
thinking one thing all your life and then find out that it's all a lie, you do. Justin, move on, you know?
Yeah,
What really
right.
bothers me is that they wouldn't let you get in contact with your brothers.
Not only that, I didn't have contact with my dad. I mean, I was cut off from everybody, literally.
I mean, he had contact with his dad, but he thought it was his brother. So to him, he didn't have contact with his dad.
It was a messed up
really?
situation. I mean, all the way through until, like I said, I was about 17, 18. I started getting a little wiser about stuff. And I finally turned 18, and
Well, they said.
first time I ever sat down with my dad, I talked.
Well, then how long ago did you find out about your brothers?
15 or 16. Randy had called.
Yeah, I called and talked to him a couple times.
Yeah, at first you weren't able to talk to him.
Right, the first time I was told he's not here,
Yeah.
or you can't talk to him. The first time I called. I remember I was at the Two Rivers Public Library when I called you from payphone.
It wouldn't let me
Because
talk.
I had found
No,
some, I don't remember where I got it.
So how different are you in ages? What?
I'm 35.
I'll be 42 in,
You're
Going on
35?
35. Going on
and he's
35.
44.
I'm 43.
You're 40. You're the oldest, aren't you?
Yes.
And
Well, we were pretty close on our estimate.
it's kind of funny, I'm the
Sure,
oldest,
yeah,
I'm
your
the
dad's
youngest, and I'm in the middle.
yeah. Matter of fact, we all got
my,
pictures of,
Of my dad's
Oh, yeah, we got
That's
kids,
pictures.
I'm the oldest. Of my mom's kids, I'm the youngest, but I got 4 brothers.
that's,
Well,
this was
you
this
know
morning.
about your other brothers and sisters then?
That's my dad.
All the time? Or,
Yeah, I knew about them, they
And
were
that's
my
June,
nephews.
his wife, they've been married for what, 14 years
They were
now?
my nephews, you know?
okay, and then they all of a sudden they're your
Huh?
brother and sister,
Or
or brothers?
No,
Just
20,
brothers?
21 years on.
Is it 21 already?
It'll be
Who's
21 on
That's my dad.
July.
That's your dad?
Yeah.
On
Do you know
July.
that-
August.
That mom.
Do you know that your dad was actually going
See,
to
he
Carroll
said that he
before
wasn't
he
that
married
happy
you?
all the time, was he?
I had thought he was
Do you have any of
because
the older pictures?
he has he has Carol's graduation picture, but he didn't realize because he went to the same school that they both went to the same school.
Mom and dad did?
Mom and Dad went to the same school, and
Yeah, same
Carol did.
Well, he was in
Yeah,
love
I
with
think
Carol,
so.
he was going with Carol before
Oh.
they got,
Look at the picture of their computer.
Wow.
You know what caused
Yeah,
them to get divorced?
When you were a baby, Randy.
that was his
No,
first
no.
love, I guess. and
No,
then-
I know what caused the divorce to begin with. That was somebody in Two Rivers that she was saying. That I'm aware of. That's,
Have you ever read any of the records for the divorce or not?
no.
Okay.
Anybody got something else to drink?
But I mean, I know that she had something going with some guy.
I think she got that afterwards,
Oh, that might have been.
and he was an older guy,
Yeah, his name was Ernie.
right?
That much I remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, that it was kind of weird that he had
Well, anyway, it's good
fallen
to see
in
you
love with
guys.
Carol first,
Yeah.
and then
I think,
afterwards.
well, he never told us
Many
that
years.
one.
Well, James
Or
said that he
took
thought
35.
that might be the case
Well,
because
I'm
he has
only
those
90.
pictures.
I like that. I like that. Good for another 90 years.
Right.
That makes sense, though, right?
Yeah.
Were people always like that back then?
What?
Just way everything happened? I mean, you were talking about the way mom was dealt with.
The what?
The way mom was dealt
The way Hazel dealt with everybody.
No, I don't know,
Oh,
I
no,
don't.
that
people
was
just-
really way out of the ordinary.
Were people
I mean,
always
that
like
was-
that though?
No,
Because
I
my
don't
grandfather
think
turned
so.
out to be
I
somewhat
never
similar,
knew.
you know? I mean,
Yeah, no, this was a whole different bag of beans. I mean,
It was all
this was
strange to me that.
truly,
action.
Hazel had money from, I think she worked at Sears or someplace. or-
Yeah.
And she had quite a bit of money, and I think that, because of that, she was the one that was in control of a lot of things.
so she
And-
used power.
Her money
Well,
power.
she was married
I just
3
remember when I
times,
was
I
little.
think, maybe 4. And George was her
Second husband.
second husband.
But I couldn't find out what her first husband was, just that her, she has 3 kids that live down in Florida somewhere.
Right, and she used to talk about them all the time when we'd go visit her.
Are you sure there were 3 kids or just 1 kid with 2 grandchildren?
Well, she has quite a few grandkids, I know that.
I thought her daughter lived in
Detroit.
In Detroit.
Well, I know she talked about family in
Hazel.
Florida all the time.
Ooh, Hazel.
Yeah,
Hazel?
talk about family in Florida, back in,
The
Unless
thing
her
that
daughter
really-
went down there to live.
The thing that really upset me
wintertime
was
or
that
something,
George
I don't
didn't
know.
stand up for the girls, period. He,
I don't know.
I think he just was,
I never
Women
knew too much about her
clothes.
family in the first place.
I mean, he really didn't stand up for them. And Edna knows, and we all know that. We all felt bad because of the way that they were treated. And when
Yeah, but they
Carol-
were
as soon
treated,
as-
they were treated pretty good.
As soon as Carol
When
got,
they came to my parents' house, my parents were really good to me.
right,
And they came there a lot.
and they came to your house,
They,
but
they
then
come
when
to
they
my
were in
house.
Hazel and George.
And
was
when
moving
they
and
were
stuff.
by my brothers, they were treated really good too. You know, it was just Hazel
She
and
did more
Edna.
than run a
I
tight
don't
ship.
know
She
what
made
it
them
was,
do
why
all
some
of the
people
work.
are like that, you know?
Well, you knew her though, right? It was your grandma.
Yeah.
yeah, well, we knew she wasn't our maternal grandma.
Right.
I know, I'd always thought that she was.
No, I knew
The
from the
wicked
get.
stepmother is probably, minimal compared to the way those girls were treated.
Would that be the reason why,
She always gave us money every time we went there.
not that, our dad, our father had thought that George had sort of excommunicated us from the Rasmussen, sort of, would that be?
It wasn't him though, it was her.
George
It
had
was probably
no.
her that
It
tried to
wasn't
do
George.
that.
It was
They
probably
wouldn't even,
her.
she wouldn't even, like I said, she didn't want Edna to go in to see George and the rest of them was going. But Edna went in anyway.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Hazel was,
Okay, so
Difficult.
it was Hazel, the cause, or not the cause, but the reason why we didn't, get this, or lost, lost communication with the Rasmussen family.
yeah, and I think Hazel more or less controlled your mother to some degree too.
I can
Because that
see.
was the
Yeah,
only
I would
person that
probably
was
say that.
left.
That's probably.
And she probably, if my mom needed money,
She'd have to go to.
she'd have to go to her, cause the only person she knew she could go to,
Right.
cause she was pretty much already cut off from all you guys,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
and that's all she knew. That makes sense.
Yeah, and she wasn't as bad to your mom as she was to Carol. And if that makes any sense, because Carol looked a lot like Lucille, George's first wife. But she was rough on both of the girls. Like I said, and Edna said, you know, the girls would come when we were visiting up north and try to sit on her lap, and boy, oh boy, they'd send them to bed, just because she was sitting on their lap.
That's an interesting point. I don't think I've ever seen Hazel after George died. I don't think I ever.
She had one good quality
I don't
that
think I
I
ever
know.
saw her.
And the one good quality was she remembered everybody's birthday, and
Yeah.
always sent a birthday card to everybody.
Yep, up until she died. We used to
She
get,
did
we used
that
to,
to everybody.
we used to get a card with the check in it.
We didn't get a check, but we got a card.
Okay, he remembers the money. Money.
That's the only thing I remember. I remember she always gave us money, that was,
Heck, I can remember when I was a kid, that was the time.
you know, hey, you got $5 from somebody, that was a lot of money,
Yeah, right.
You know
You're
what I
like,
mean?
whoa, this is cool.
you know?
Wow, I mean, I'm listening to this and I'm getting kind of emotional.
It's hard.
And I understand, I mean, and your mom was very important to you guys, but the person that I feel the most for was Ben,
Right.
because you never got to know.
That's
She
right.
was such a good person. You
Yeah.
know, she was probably
He never
the,
got to know his mother.
she was just such a good person and such an open person, and she got really, pounded, as best as I can say. She got pounded in a lot of ways, and Carol got pounded in a lot of ways. but
Well, I
Carol-
think they enjoyed their life pretty good. Too.
No, back in the
Even if they did have some bad, you know, because they had some good times. too.
Actually, she's got a letter that she sent to you about how it was there.
Oh, well, yeah, just forget about that and
Yeah,
think
but
about the
they-
good stuff.
They might like that letter though.
No, I'm not even sure that's what.
Well, we wanna know as much information about her life.
It was a
Good,
beau-
bad,
It was a beautiful
you know.
letter, and she was just really letting Edna know how much she cared about her and how bad she was feeling what was going on right then. She was going to school. It was after she graduated from high school.
Nursing
and
school?
Yeah, she was there.
Yeah, 'cause I remember
And
she
how
was
diffi-
a nurse or a
how
nursing
Mary
assistant.
Lou, and how she was trying so hard to pass, and she was having a struggle with it. And that her parents might be very unhappy with her not being able to pass, and that she wanted to just talk to Edna.
I mean, from school.
In the letter. But that's it was a beautiful letter. And I thought to myself, when I read that, you know, she just was just really open, and she was hurting, but she did good. Anyway, she had a personality that was always bubbling up most of the time, you know. She's a good person, and so
Okay.
is Carol.
Yeah.
When Carol came down to see me when I was going to college in Milwaukee, I was going to be a teacher. And one time, and she said she had had it. She was just really so fed up with what was going on there with Teresa. But she managed to do the best she could too, and she graduated. She became a practical nurse. She married Jerry Roller, and then she got leukemia. She died. You know, and she really was a beautiful person too.
No, she passed away before,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Several years.
Your mom
ago.
lost
she
a lot of
died long
people.
before.
She lost her
Quite a
dad,
few.
she
Yeah.
lost her mom, and she lost her best friend, Carol, and her sister. Her sister and best friend.
Yeah, because Carol.
When did Carol die?
Carol took care of Mary
Kinda
a
like
lot
me.
when they were little
I can't
kids.
remember when Carol
in a
died.
way,
Carol died in 1967.
So just after, what year, when I was a year.
wow, that's just spooky.
How old did you say you were?
I was born in '66, so
That's
I'll
just
be
spooky.
42.
And how old is James?
He's born in '65.
65.
so he'll be 40. He's 42.
Yeah, so you would
It's
never
hard.
even know her. I can
Yeah,
remember, see, I can remember Carol more than I can remember, only because I don't know exactly why, I just don't, I mean, I remember them both, but I guess it's because Carol, because she was, what, 64 or 5 when she got married. I can remember that was when Tricia was my sister, that was her first time ever being a flower girl at her wedding. We're going there and it's like, that was the whole thing,
Carol was really quiet
Really?
and sensitive and,
Well, Mary Lou was more outgoing than
yeah, but
Carol.
she was still sensitive, but she was more outgoing. She was curious about everything. It's probably why she joined the circus, because, you know, her curiosity was there, you know. Carol was more like the mother.
Well, it might have been kind of exciting to join the circus for a little while and see
Wow.
how it went.
Do you know that part
the
of your
circus was
mom?
embarrassing.
Was in the circus?
No, I think it was a circus that went through Green Bay.
I can
Edna?
see her doing it though.
I can see you doing something like that.
The biggest circus.
Oh, I tell you.
I don't remember what she did in the circus, though. I guess
She wasn't on it very long.
No, she got.
It was one that went through Green Bay, I think.
I
And
don't
she
think it was
met
as
up with
fun as
somebody
she
that
thought
was
it was
in
gonna be.
and working there, and I think that whoever it was that was working convinced her that it might be a nice thing to do. And she wanted to get away from the whole thing with Hazel and everything at that time. And thought
was an
maybe it'd be a
escape.
way to get a, you know,
It
have
was
a
an
different.
escape and get on her own.
Yeah, right, she
Or try anyway. It's just
And then probably
weird.
Hazel found her and dragged her back out, right?
well, I know that,
Just thought parts of her life are
They
kind of like
probably
parallel to
did.
mine. Man.
That's probably what happened.
Weird.
For the first 3 months, they had no idea where she was. Once they found out where she was,
I think she wrote and told them where she had gone. If I'm not mistaken.
Your mom was a rebel.
I don't know where he gets it from.
And then, she didn't like to stay in one, she was rambunctious, that she didn't really like to stay in one place.
And what do? You drive a truck all over the country.
She liked to stay here.
Yeah, but I mean, cause it seemed like we were always moving someplace else.
there was
You know,
always
like-
something better on the other side.
Yeah, I think that was because she
Yeah.
was searching for something. You know, and Carol had died, I think. You can't remember Carol at all?
No, we were one.
No,
and
they
two.
were 1 and 2, they wouldn't remember it. I mean, I can,
No, I'm sorry,
I mean, that was like when they lived here, I was like 1 year old. So I mean, I don't remember living here at all, my sister can remember just a little.
I'm sure Carol took care of you plenty. You know, that she would go over there.
At least for the first year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she loved kids so much. You know, she couldn't have any of herself because she
I,
was sick and.
I remember now. We did go over to Carol's house, or wherever Carol's house was. She lived in like Ashwaubenon or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
I remember going over to her house and, you know, this was before my mom died, and for some reason I had a dream one night that Carol had called on the phone and I talked to her. That's the only, I don't remember what the phone conversation was about and any of that, but I remember having that dream. But I don't even remember how old I was, so.
She was a beautiful person. It's just too bad it happened that way, but it happened for a reason, for whatever reason, I don't know. But you guys are all here, you're all doing
Yeah,
good,
it's
you're
pretty
doing your
cool.
mom proud.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm sure she'd be pretty proud of you. As far as I know.
I'll take the fifth on that.
That's pretty good.
Try, that's all you can do.
Okay. So what kind of truck you drive?
Freightliner, Plaza.
Great big one.
Yep. 18-wheeler.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I don't like being in
Kinda
one
hard.
spot too long.
Well, where do you go? Where do you drive to? How far do you drive?
All over.
You
All
go
over.
Matter of fact,
California and all that.
Well, not much California
Yeah.
anymore. I used to,
Yeah.
when I first started, I was always going out to California and back. In fact, that was when I first started getting a hold of you. And, cause I had an old address on it, and it was no good anymore, but you guys, you'd already moved, I can't remember now, I think Oceanside.
19,
You guys, you both were,
1919, what
El
was it?
Camino Real. It probably was. We were probably both
1999.
$24.99, wasn't it?
I don't remember now,
1999 El Camino Real, number 133.
something like that.
Yeah, we both lived there at the same time. We
I
were
know
living
you
together.
both were living together, cause that was like the last time I talked to you.
Wow.
That was like
Because I know I started first time I talked to you,
Oh, no.
I still lived in Two Rivers before I went in the military.
Well, you lived with your dad.
And then,
Yeah, we lived with
I
them.
went-
90 was the last
Ah,
time
wait,
I
no,
talked
it couldn't have
Yeah,
been.
after,
Might have been when I came back from.
moved out to California.
when Randy had gotten into a car accident while my dad was stationed over in Germany. And,
He ended up coming, my dad.
he wasn't in the car. A car hit him when he was coming from school. I happened to have the flu that day and I didn't go to school. I had bed rest. And Randy I think you,
I had to stay after school
yeah, he
that
had
day,
to stay
so it was
after
like
school.
4:30
Oh,
at
you
night.
were full of mischief, huh?
Yeah, probably.
Well, this was after my mom died, so, you know, I was, before he was born, I was,
He's a rebel.
I was,
Where did you guys
Her
live
favorite, I
after
think.
she died?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We moved to Green Bay,
Right away?
922
Yeah.
Channel Avenue.
after the funeral, or after the wake or whatever, we went and picked up our stuff at the house the next day. And we went-
didn't.
I don't
We
think
didn't go
so.
to the house.
I don't think.
I remember being at the trailer to pack up our stuff.
We were at Carol's.
We were at Carol's.
Dorothy's.
Dorothy's house. That's where we stayed.
Yeah, cause
Until the break.
all of us were there
Yeah, I
at
don't
one point.
think that they let you in the trailer because
No.
it was all
No.
blocked off.
Oh, okay.
And then from there, I don't know where you guys went.
After,
In my mind, maybe I-
Right, you, right, when you're
After
young
my-
like that stuff.
after the wake, our grandpa and grandma, on my dad's side, took us to Green Bay, and we stayed there. We lived at 922 Shawano Avenue until my birthday, June 8th. But February
8th at 4:30.
February 8th, he got hit by a yellow Corvette. Running
The roads were up.